Hi, everyone. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It's obviously Monday today, so we'll take a look at the markets. We'll take a look at Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Ethereum, see how it's doing. It actually did pretty well today. We'll also take a look at the miners, see what's going on there. They were green for the most part. And then we'll take a look at Hodl strategy for Hot 8. There's been quite a few comments that you guys think that it's actually a really good strategy for them. So we'll take a look at that. And I'll provide you guys with some numbers. We'll do some assumptions as well. But we'll take a look at it. Is it basically a hodl at cost of shareholders? So we'll look at all that. And as always, not financial advice. For entertainment only, do your own research. Don't fall for scams. Spam posts get reported and deleted. I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And hit the notification bell as well. All right, so let's take a look at the miners here. Or actually the market. So the S&P was actually up today nicely, 2.65%. The Dow Jones was up 1.86%, and the NASDAQ was up 3.46%. So we had a good day in the markets. Bitcoin is also up quite nicely today. It's a little bit off of its high today, which the high was at 19,679. It is at right now 19,609, which isn't too bad. We are above our support line here at 19,500, so that's at least a good mark there. Now, looking at the RSI, we're still not looking too positive, at least not on the daily chart. Last time we were here, price was higher than we are right now. So we got to wait for a reversal pattern to happen where price is higher, RSI is lower. We are seeing that a little bit on the 1 hour chart. If we look here, going back far enough back, we can see within the last, what is that, it's going to be 24 hours or so. Price was lower here, price is now higher, RSI is actually lower. That's a good sign, so it's a little bit bullish more on the 1 hour chart. Ethereum's looking the same way right now. You can see here price has been going up. RSI is about 69. Last time we were right around here, we were down here lower. So that's also looking good for Ethereum. And Ethereum is at 1,336 right now. It's up 2.31% so far. So a good day for the markets, for Bitcoin, Ethereum as well. Let's take a look at the miners really quick. We can see here ANY was up 0.05%, just barely, to 39 cents. Argo was up 1.29% to 16.5 cents. Bit Digital was up 2.91% to $1.06. Bitfarms was up 5.19% to 99 cents. CleanSpark was up nice today, 10.25% to $3.12. Cores was up 3.6% to $1.15. DigiHost was actually down 6.08% to 66 cents. DMG was down 2.15% to 17 cents. GreenEdge was up 4.59% to $1.14. Hive was up 3.44% to $3.31. Hot was up 4.89% to $1.93. Iris Energy was up 5.29 to $3.58. Luxfolio was down 2.77 to 6 cents. Marathon was up also nicely today, 13.5% to $11.69. Then Mawson was down 4.38% to 39 cents. And Riot was up 4.86% to $6.04. Soluna was up 3.91% to $1.86. And Stronghold was up 9.49% to $1.04. And that is all of the miners. Let's take a look at the network hash rate right now. Let's reload this. And we can see that the network hash rate on the 7-day average is holding at about 263 million terahashes right now. It did peak at about 266, so we're right there. And then we can see, obviously, it has kind of bounced up and down before. We're seeing the same thing before we probably see a next leg up on the hash rate. I'm thinking by the end of the year, we'll be probably closer to 300 million when it's all said and done, if the miners continue to install the way that they have been. Okay, so now is the question on hodl position and Hot 8, since there isn't much news going on. I created this spreadsheet, and there's some assumptions here. Just so you guys are aware of those assumptions. The assumptions are that Bitcoin hash rate is going to continue to increase from 260 million all the way up to 359 by the time we're done here on this homework or the spreadsheet. Excuse me. The other assumption is that we have the same Bitcoin price for one of these, and that's basically the monthly revenue is at 19,500 all throughout this, so it's pretty static here. The only thing that's increasing is obviously the difficulty or the network hash rate, which is reducing the amount paid to basically the revenue to the miners, and that is being decreased by 3% each month going forward. So I took Hut 8 numbers that they have right now at 3 exahash, going to be to about 3.5 exahash by the end of this year, early next year. This is all that they have reported as far as where they're going to be at. And I also took I took CleanSpark because they said they're going to be getting to 22 exahash by the end of next year. So I wanted someone that's going to be continually growing, possibly. We don't know how fast they're going to be growing. So there's an assumption here that they're going to be growing basically, what is that? They're going to be growing by 15% each month, which I know is going to be really difficult for them to do, especially growing that fast. But we have seen others do this. We've seen Marathon do this. We've seen Core Scientific do this. So it is possible. It's just going to be, I don't think it's going to be that consistent. But we are getting them to probably 21, close to 22 by the time in 12 months. So if it plays out that way, this is a good example for this. If it doesn't, obviously, they might be closer to 12 or something like that, maybe half of that. But we'll have to see, obviously, how things work for them next year. And getting to 22 exahash, it's going to be, obviously, no small feat. So that's part of it here. The other part of it is, like I said, Hut 8 is getting to 3.5 exahash. They're pretty much stuck after that. They haven't reported on anything after that. They do have 200 million ATM, which is obviously going to be shareholder dilution. If they do use it, I'm pretty sure we're also going to see the shareholder dilution in CleanSpark as well. Not sure how much, because they do use a lot of their revenue that they mine from every month, sell it, and then they use that revenue to fund growth and their operations. Whereas Hut 8 has been consistently just hodling everything that they mine, and they've been unfortunately diluting shares because of it to fund operations. And they do have some other data centers that they are making money on, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to cover electricity expenses, payroll, everything else. So they are going to probably use some of that ATM program to also fund their operations. But we'll take a look at the Hodl position, not the Hodl positions, but we'll take a look at their shareholder dilution for the past 2 years, I think. We'll take a look at that in a minute here once we go through all the numbers. Okay, so I think I pretty much laid down all the assumptions that we do have right now. So on the monthly revenue on this line here for CleanSpark is at 19,950 basically. This line is their current BTC hodl, plus if they add on their future revenue or future BTC mined, we add this on to this line here. And that goes for both of them. Hut 8 is 8,388. That's valued at 163 million right now. CleanSpark has 594. That's 11.5 million. And that also gets, let's see, what is this here? Oh, and then this line here is if Bitcoin eventually starts going back up to closer to 50,000. So each month we have it at, the first month we have it at 19.5. Then we go up to 20,000. Maybe I'm sure I have this correct. Yep, 20,000 on both of them. 20,000. We stay at 20,000. 20,000 here, 20,000, 20,000. So basically we stay at 20,000 range for like 5 months. And then once we get closer to the halving event, we start going up to 25,000, 30,000, 35,000, 40,000, 45, and finally 50,000 for BTC. So we can see how the revenue shakes up for both being static at 19.5 and if Bitcoin starts going up later on next year. And we can see that for both of these companies here. Also, we're using, obviously, the latest pricing that we do have for revenue per terahash, and it's about 6.92 cents per terahash. That's total revenue, not subtracting any electrical or anything like that. This is just straight full gross profit, basically. We're multiplying it times the exahash they currently have to get the 30-day, finally, revenue for them. So currently, with CleanSpark being at 4.7, they're about 9.7 million, somewhere around there. For the 30 days, Hut 8 would be 6.2 million, and they would be mining about 319 Bitcoin, whereas CleanSpark is about 500, or should be close to around 500 BTC. Now, you can see here also that once, how do I want to put this? Hut 8, once they stop growing their hash rate, which is going to be in about 4 or 5 months, to get into 3.5 exahash, we don't have any further news from them as far as getting above that. So we're just going with what they have. They are eventually going to start making actually, well, they're 6.3, 6.4, 6.5. Yep, eventually going to be making less revenue here once their growth stops and the network hash rate continues to grow. So you can see here 6.4 million in revenue when they peak here, and then it starts going down to 6.2, 6, 5.8, 5.6, almost 5.7, 5.5, 5.35, 5.2. So if they're not growing, with the network hash rate growing, they're going to be making less and less money on that revenue. So based on all this information that we have here, whereas CleanSpark, if they grow the way this is projected, which I doubt they're going to grow this way, it's highly unlikely. It'd be fantastic if they did grow by 15% each month, but I doubt that's going to happen. Here's where we're looking at. They're, even with BTC hash rate increasing, they would be actually mining more each month. So basically at 19,500 throughout the year, they start at 9.7 and end up at 32 million, almost 32.5 million by the end of the year, and would be mining about 1,665 Bitcoins compared to Hut 8 only mining 266 Bitcoins. So now the numbers that really get interesting are these. So at 19,500 for the whole 12 months, basically, CleanSpark would generate about 229 million in revenue, whereas Hut 8 would only generate 72 million in revenue roughly on this. But here's where it kind of gets a little bit interesting also with the Hodl position. So with Hodl, obviously, they would have about 12,000 BTC in Hodl position for Hut 8. That would equate to 235 million at 19,500 if Bitcoin stayed at the same price. We're taking CleanSpark and only hold using 20% of the total that they would have at the end, because they are selling the majority of it. They're selling anywhere between 75 and like 90% of their Bitcoins mined to fund operations and growth. So I'm using only 20% of that to come up with the value of 45 million for them at the end of those 12 months. So we can see obviously that the Hodl position did help out Hut 8 tremendously, but they also started out at 8,388 compared to CleanSpark at 594. So in this respect, I do see how Hodl position obviously helps out, but in order for them to Hodl, they will have to dilute shares. So will CleanSpark to grow their hash rate. But here's the big difference in the way I'm looking at things. So if we look at, if Bitcoin starts going up to 50,000 here on this line, all right, we're starting out at 19, 20, 20, 20, 20, and then we're going up 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. If that happens, this is how much their CleanSpark is likely to make, about 382 million in revenue for the year, compared to only Hut 8's 103 million in revenue. That's obviously a big difference there. It's almost a difference between these two here. But if Bitcoin goes up to 50,000 at this end mark here, their Hodl position of 12,000 Bitcoins is worth 603 million, whereas CleanSpark is only 123 million. And comparing, obviously, this is Hut 8 is going to be better off, but I think, and this is just where I'm thinking my thoughts are. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree in the comments down below. I could be wrong on this. But looking at what they're making here by the end of the 12 months in Bitcoin, the 1,665, and Bitcoin continues to go up higher in price, I think that the Hodl strategy and not selling it to fund growth is possibly a mistake, because they are going to be generating so much more in Bitcoins compared to Hut 8, which is only going to be making 266. Yes, the price will go up, so their Hodl position will help out. But in order for them to do this, like I said, I think they're going to have to dilute shares, and they're going to have to dilute quite a bit, along with CleanSpark. So that's a given. But let's take a look at their current dilution here. So this is financials for Hut 8, and we're taking this is the diluted shares outstanding part of it. So in Q4 2020, they were at 97.25 million. And then by the end of Q2, they had 178 million. So obviously double, 100% basically dilution here in just a matter of, what is that? We got 1, 2, 3, so a year and a half roughly. And we got huge dilution from them, and they've grown only to, right now, what is it, 3.3 exahash? What was it? What do we have them at? 3 exahash right now, right? And a heck of a lot of shares definitely basically increased the shares by 80 some million shares. So that is huge dilution for obviously the shareholders. Now take a look at CleanSpark. CleanSpark started out basically in the beginning of, when did they start out? They were mining in 2021. They bought their first little miners facility in the end of 2020 in December, and they started going full bore in Q1 of 2021. So they had only 22 million shares outstanding then. They increased now to 41.2 million in Q3 of 2022. If you look at the annual, 29 million, quarterly, 41.28 million. So they increased their shares by only 19 million shares, but they've grown basically from 0 to get to 4.7 exahash. That is a heck of a lot better job being done as far as growth than Hut 8 has done. So that's another way that I'm kind of looking at this, right? Hut 8 was actually mining in 2018, 2017. They already had some miners that they were running on. And CleanSpark started out at 0, beat them within basically the same amount of time frame in 2 years, diluted less shares, and are growing, continue to grow towards 22 exahash using the BTC that they do mine, funding the growth, and possibly generating 382 million per year. If Bitcoin goes back to 50, and if it goes up to 100,000, it's even better for them. Whereas Hut 8 will only generate 103 million. So almost 4 times the revenue towards that. And that's going to continue on here. So the thing that I'm trying to get across, I guess, is Hodl is all good and great, but it's obviously at the expense of shareholders, unfortunately. And we want to see growth. If they're not growing, they're going to be making less and less money. So I keep saying this about all the miners. They really have to grow at least more than the network hash rate each month to make more revenue. And I think that's a common theme here. Hodl position is great, but at what expense? If it's at the expense of Hodl, at the expense of shareholders, then I don't think it's a good thing. I think they're going to just continue diluting that. I would rather see them sell a portion of their Hodl position, maybe half, 3/4, save the rest, but use that money to fund growth where eventually you're going to be at 10 exahash, 12 exahash, where you're starting to make pretty good revenue on that. And the other thing is, in about a year and a half, we have the Bitcoin halving event coming up again. Those revenues are going to be cut in half with, overnight, basically. We're going to go from 6.5 or 6.25 to 3.375, I think it's something like that. Some weird number like that, 3.135, and BTC being awarded to miners per each block. So there's obviously going to be a huge decrease in revenue, not only for Hut 8, but for everybody else. But the way to combat that is obviously to get the miners now, especially now that they are cheap. Things are readily available. If you wait too long to purchase miners, I think they're going to start going back up in price. They're also going to be probably longer lead times again. So you won't be getting those miners in until possibly when the price is at back up to 35, 40,000 again. And whereas you really want to get them in now, and get them start, mining as much Bitcoin as you can, I guess, before the halving event happens. So let me know if you guys agree with this. If you don't agree with it, I could be completely wrong on this, but this is kind of the way I'm looking at things as far as shareholder dilution, future growth. What is it going to mean for them when the halving event happens? And if they don't grow, obviously that's going to cut everything in half. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know you guys enjoyed it. And spreadsheets is going to be available to my Patreon members as always. Thank you to everyone there for their support. And I think that's it. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great one. Bye.